So it is working. Right, I never advertised this, people, because obviously YouTube's changed the format. Usually you can go in and go to classic stream now, but it wasn't giving me that option. So I just started up the OBS and went live just to see if it was still connecting to this, and it obviously is, but it's not giving me the option to I just see something here. Oh, has it changed that? So how are you doing, people? This is probably not going to stay up. I'm probably going to be, I've been thinking a wee bit about what to do with this channel here. So I've got a couple of options that I've been thinking about. The first option is to bleach the channel totally. Get rid of all the hangouts that have happened before. No deleting them, I'm just going to set them to private. The reason being is that a couple of people recently have said to me, they were obviously curious about the channel, and I've gave them, you know, what the channel is, and the feedback that I got from them was that they didn't know where to start because there was so much on the channel, and I felt that way for a while. So what I want to try and do is whittle this all down to make it concise and just have short, sharp videos on here. So the options that I'm thinking of for keeping the live, you know, hangout thing going is that I do it on another channel, or I still continue it on here, but as soon as it's done I'll be setting it to private. So you can give me some feedback and what would, you know, what you think would be beneficial. But to me the most important thing is that anybody that's coming across it gets concise, short, sharp, you know, input that should hopefully be beneficial to them and can clarify this whole question about what flat earth is and who people that we are. So I'm considering that that's going to be the option, which would mean, of course, there's a whole lot of, you know, endless amounts of hours of material there that's all going to be lost, and I just don't have the patience to go through it to pick out any of the kind of good bits or whatever. So I'm thinking that I'll just go through the whole process again. We'll start with a heliocentric. We'll start first and foremost, obviously, the language, what, you know, the term science means, what heliocentrism, globe earth is, what the science is that they're professing to have, and whatever else, and we'll just go through each and every aspect, you know, isolated to each part, so that, as I say, it's kind of it's clear. And again, it means that if you know anybody that's coming onto it that's new, you can point them to, you know, maybe some useful bits of information, because it has become a bit saturated, if I'm honest. And as I've always said, the Saturday evening thing was good, you know, for the first couple of years or whatever, when it seemed to be an influx of people and people were keen to have a chat and whatever else, but that's kind of died down. Obviously, you know, I've put this in the title, Flat Earth is dead and dying, but a clickbait for the morons. Good if Flat Earth's dying, because there's no Flat Earth. No rational, sane person professes that the Earth is flat. No sane, rational person professes that the Earth is a circle, or a pizza dish, or any of this preposterous propaganda bullshit that's been pumped out there deliberately. So good if all that's dying out. Now we can get right to the fucking nub of the matter, hopefully. And as I've been saying for years and years, I don't care what side of the fence you think you're on. This is a question of the objective reality that we share. It's singular. There's no a debate. There should never have been a debate. There should never have been one side doing battle with another side. All that stuff is just there to waste your time and keep you going round in circles and to perpetuate it, so that there's never any end to this. So good. Let them shout that it's dying. Fucking brilliant. Put the Strawman cartoons back in the crayon drawer, and let's get to the real situation. And again, once the channel's bleached and I'm moving forward, as hard as it is, because I see some amount of incredibly stupid, gullible cult lunatics waffling on about a lot of shite, about globes and heliocentrism, and thinking they're sophisticated and intelligent. And the majority of them just sit and make hit piece videos on persons never offering anything factual that you can relate to in a practical fashion in your objective reality. So I'm going to strip the channel down and I'm going to stick the knife in even deeper, and I'm going to keep twisting it. I'm going to take every single nonsensical aspect of this gibberish conception of our reality, and I'm going to break it to fucking pieces. Each video will be relevant to one particular point at a time. And again, if you are a true skeptic, a true intelligence, you should know that this is not about a debate. We're talking about physics, physicality. And we'll get into the language and the subdivisions of the sciences and all this crap that's piled on top of proper objective exploration. And we will separate it so that it becomes abundantly clear to everybody where the manipulation and the lies are happening. I'm not interested in debates, dichotomies. We're talking physics. Physics is simple. You make a claim of objective reality and you bring forth the practical physical demonstration. No excuses allowed. I don't care how many pictures you've got on your TV, or how many red herring fallacies you want to invoke, or any other fallacy you want to invoke. It will be brutally dismantled. It's gone on far too long, this whole fucking circus of us and them and you. There's no two sides. All these characters online are just performers, and shite ones at that. As I say, although it's very, very difficult for me, I'm going to give them no attention whatsoever. I will, however, be taking their statements, their claims, and I will be tearing them to fucking shreds. If anybody wants anything from any of the hangouts, by all means, I'll leave it until tomorrow morning. I know that's not enough time for you to get through every bit yet, but hey ho. I know there's people out there like Bill and maybe Andrew who have downloaded or saved a lot of the live hangouts, which is great. As I say, here I'll just be turning them to private so that it clears the channel up. And if I do decide that I'm going to do a hangout based thing on a Saturday, it'll either be on the Beyond the Imaginary Curve live platform if I can get access to it. I'm still waiting on that. If not, I'll do it here, but immediately once it's over with, I'll be setting it to private, just so that it keeps the channel clear. I want this platform to be focused purely on the topic and what I see as relevant and important for people to grasp. You can mirror whatever you want, anything you want. As I say, it is annoying, and I wish I had done it from the beginning and separated the live hangouts from, you know, just the content uploads, because there's so much material in amongst the hangouts, you know, that's been covered. But again, you know, and anybody that was involved, if they're willing, they can participate. But this time, I just want to make it short uploads and concise and right to the point, addressing each and every aspect of claims that you and I have been born into. And we'll see how they stack up. Nobody here, I certainly have never been and never will be a proponent of any model. When I talk about model, I'm talking about true scale modelling, which means you can take an aspect of objective reality and you can scale it up or down, and it will be accurate because it utilises and uses the actual components or substances that the claims are being made about. I'm not talking about conceptual models based on interpretation of visible phenomena. Again, these are things we'll get to when, you know, I start to go through it piece by piece, okay? Because it's going to be ongoing, and I'll just be taking it each day as it comes, and hopefully people get used out of that. If I keep them short and sharp, then hopefully it will get across to people. So we'll be getting into all the varying aspects, you know, language, you know, what heliocentrism is, what science is, and all the claims that come under that through, you know, visible phenomena to tangible three-dimensional phenomena, and where the mix and mash is going in regards to pseudoscience and outright ridiculous, absurd claims. Thank you very much, Timmy Fleming. I try to be. As I say, the whole point of this is that nobody owns any of it. There's no gurus, there's no leaders, there's none of that involved in this investigation. It's up to each and every individual to discern for themselves and come to their own conclusions based on their experiences. John, it was always nice to meet people at the park. Hope you're well, mate. Well, that's the whole thing, Pure Water. People here have probably heard, you know, we've went through, you know, went over and over certain aspects, but in regards to new people, and again, this is where it's important, because when, you know, for me, we still need numbers. If we've ever to realise what this place actually is, then we really do need the numbers. I know, I said it from the very beginning, might be a pipe dream, it might be a, you know, a huge target to aim for, but I don't see any other option. The only other option is that we sit here and surmise and go round and round in circles, postulating possibilities. That's what's already going on in regards to our existence, whether it be where we are physically or what we are metaphysically. I've seen Peter and Pete's video when they were addressing this as well. You know, people really have to distinguish and separate. You've got all these terms out there, you know, and mainstream narratives, mainstream science are particularly focused on giving us stories and narratives, existential storylines. That's never what it should have ever been about in the first place. It should always have been about practical play. Every single day, moving forward, making discoveries of what is, rather than making assumptions of what is, or making assumptions of things that you can never get to, and then, you know, partaking in storytelling. People should be very suspicious of that. That's the work of religious institutions. I don't care whether you're a Christian, Catholic, Muslim, atheist, whatever. It's all religious. Every single fucking bit of it. The real reality of the situation is you don't fucking know. I know that you've been born into a situation where gimps and institutions have told you, oh, I've made discoveries about 14 billion years ago, and this, it's all fucking stories. You know, diddly fucking squat. It's about time you all wound your fucking pompous necks in and get back to what real scientific endeavour was about. Practical play, practical discovery of what is, without any bias or fucking story that you're interpreting to fit your wee religious narrative. I'm not fucking interested in substitutes and wee feelsy good stories about our existence. I don't give a fuck what the reality is about our existence. What I give a fuck about is establishing what the true extent of our being is. As I've said so many times before, we are an effect. We are within this reality. This reality encompasses us. We are part of the effect. There's absolutely no fucking point and trying to zoom into the micro and coming up with fucking fanciful stories about what gives rise to matter, or fanciful stories about what's at the outer reaches of the macro. We're not equipped for that. We're only equipped for now. We explore what is and we make discoveries. And any fucking man making any sort of claim to objective reality must be scrutinised and brought under. Held to the fucking fire. Where is your practical reference? It's so simple. You would never believe me telling you stories of fucking leprechauns, unicorns, or any other fanciful shite that I wanted to make up, unless I could produce for you the actual practicality, something that you can experience physically in 3 dimensions. I'm only on here for a wee quick one just to let you know that that's what's going on. As I say, I've just been a bit busy, and to be honest, my focus has not been in it. But once I clear the channel out and I bleach it and get back to focus, then, you know, I'll get the bit between my teeth. Because I love nothing more than fucking sticking a knife into lying, twisted gimps. And in particular, the pish that comes out of their mouth. Or that they jot down in wee bits of paper. People like myself have been misrepresented for far too fucking long. So that'll be another aspect. We'll be addressing sophistry, which is part of language, and how propaganda is used. And what we'll be doing is identifying exactly when it happens. And it's not going to be name calling. I know I've done it before for showmanship purposes, because at that time I felt that people needed to have a bit of spine and not be scared, because they were shrouded under this cloud of science and this authority, and people seemed timid to address it or dig into it. And for me it seemed important to show, look, you don't need to give a fuck. You're equipped just the same as everybody else to discern your reality, the reality that we all share. And to be honest with you, I get kind of used to being in that lazy mindset of just being abusive and having contempt and the attitude of fuck you, which for me did serve a purpose. But now it's time to just get cold, factual, and I'm going to enjoy ripping apart every single aspect of their bullshit. Nobody's stopping here, degenerates. I ain't ever going to stop. Ever. It's far too important. I don't give a fuck if people don't comprehend the relevance or why it's important. I know that it is. You know that it is. So do many other people that come here. Thank you.
Welcome.
I did take time out, Rise and Shine Truth. I've been taking time out for the last couple of months. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've hardly been on. Henry Cavendish, aye. People like me are not allowed to demonstrate to you how, you know, what the physical behaviour of a substance known as water is, and pour it onto a football, because you get met with cries of derogatory laughter. Ha ha ha, that's what we expect with a big planetoid underneath. We expect a planetoid to pull the water off your ball. And then they'll come out with Cavendish. So Cavendish and these people assumed that there already was a gravitational field, but never isolated their test from the assumed gravitational field. This is some of the stuff I'm talking about. They start out with axioms, they start out with postulations, assumptions, and then they try and interpret things to fit their little biased story. And that's exactly what they do. So we'll get into all that mass attracting mass, push and pull, the mechanisms, the mechanics of motion, every single fucking bit of it. But we'll take it in increments. We'll take it from the very beginning and we'll address it as you as the individual. And then we'll just progress from there. As I say, it's already been done. We've said it all. The globe is dead. In fact, it's not even dead because it never existed in the first place. It is only a concept dreamt up in the minds of fucking lunatics. And these lunatics are now infecting vulnerable children with their fucking gibberish. Robbing them of their potential and their opportunities to progress and discover what their reality actually is. Criminal cunts. And I'm going to expose them meticulously, without being direct about any particular person. But these people will know because that content that they spew out will be obliterated. Which it already has been. What's that saying? They need to kick a dead horse or something? Fuck it. I enjoy kicking this dead cunt. Water does tell a lie, Euclid's bendy water. It always did. The modern movement of flat earth on social media like YouTube was infiltrated from the off. It's always had its propaganda. Anybody that questioned the officialdom were met by propaganda. It's been going on a lot longer than YouTube. Exactly, Tony. There'll be plenty of ripping the piss out it when I get to making the videos. So I'll be starting very soon, right at the beginning. Just as I done at the start of this journey, and I'm going to try and condense everything into small, bite-sized videos. As I say, the channel needs to be bleached because I'm getting that feedback from people. They're curious and they're interested, they're coming to the channel but they don't know where to start, because there's so much on it, and they'll stick a random hangout on that's maybe on for 2.5, 3 hours, and a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, is more advanced than where they are in their journey. And we always need to rein myself back in and remember that the majority of people are still, in the maze. They still have faulty notions of people like you and I and what flat earth is and yada yada, and what they think science is and what these authorities are telling them. Because I've always said there's too many gurus and saviours out there. Nobody ever wants to get to the crux of the matter, the root of the problem, which is that people do not know how to discern for themselves. They've been fed bullshit, giving up their own authority and discernment and handing it over to institutions and never giving it a second thought. So unless people start getting equipped with the tools that they require, none of this is ever going to change. It's going to continually perpetuate. Jack, well, that's perfect. Andrew's the same. I know Bill's done it. There's a few other channels here, Degenerates. You need to forgive me, there's a few out there that I know have done that. They've taken small snippets and they've condensed bits down. So anybody that sees this that has done that, can you please send me an email or get in touch somehow, just so that I can look at the catalogue that you've got on your channel, and then I can use some of that, and it would save me having to fucking cut bits up and try and get through, you know, an endless amount of material to get it. If there's things there that you think would be useful for what I'm talking about, then by all means let me know about it. Of course, Brian Mabbitt, we know that. Aye, Paul, that's right, they have got a long walk to wake them up. And that's why for me it's important to give them small increments, small steps, and make it so that there's no way for them to escape. I'll be keeping the uploads, like the street interviews, the tools for truth, the switcheroo, some of these things. I'm going to have a wee look through them, and ones that I think that are good and relevant and important, I'm going to leave up there. Again, I'm open to suggestion. I can't remember. I don't even, once I've done a live, I just forget about it and move on. So I forget, you know, 99% of what's on the channel. But all the interview stuff, the things that happened out in the street, and you know, all that kind of thing, I'll be leaving that up. And again, you know, people might be disappointed who have come on the platforms or whatever, but the opportunity will be there for you again and again. This is not about being recognised as personalities or whatever. What's important here is how we get the message to people and gain them something that they can use and they can get their teeth into and they can comprehend. You know, hopefully Gav will have time. As I say, I'll be reaching out to other people as well and see if they're interested in you know, contributing for what we need. So Gav will obviously be there as long as he's got the time to partake in it. As I say, anybody else. Say Nicholas Draken, I'm not interested in fucking wanting to be gurus and celebrities. See, that's the problem, Kit Kat. You still have all this fucking garbage. Talking about edges and fucking domes and ice walls and planetoids and it's fucking boring. As I say, hopefully when we do this bite-sized chunks, when you get any of this for any of these people, you can just go bang here. As I say, I'll make it so that they can't escape, because reality is no telling lies. The beauty of this whole thing is that we have reality on our side. We have honesty and integrity on our side. These people are just manipulative liars, and they're not even that good. And in that regard, it would help people, as I said before, understanding fallacies and how manipulative behaviour, in particular with language, works, would help people not only just about understanding their objective reality, but in social circles. You know, the manipulations that go on in regards to relationships or acquaintances or whatever. For me, any problem always has an answer to it. Any problem always stemmed from a source. And once you apply these tools and you get a comprehension of these things, you can start to tear apart anything and get right to the root of where an issue occurred. It's an open prison we live in. Look, I don't want to keep putting out things, you know, for the concern that people think you're trying to scare them. And I've said this before, and I don't mean it from a place of negativity, right? I know who I am and I know what's relevant and important to me. And I've said this before about the sentience, and that's what I hold dear, right? This place, material reality, material existence is fucking hell, okay? Now, you can try and dolly it up and put tinsel on it all you fucking like. Take a closer look, right? You're no in a gifted place. You're no in a place that you should revere and place relevance and importance and attach yourself to it. Material reality is hell. Okay? An abomination indeed, boom me. Aye, we spoke about germ theory. Tasty wheat. This is the thing as well, sometimes it annoys me, I see people talking about as if, you know, here we've never spoke about it. There's loads of aspects that have been discussed and talked about on here, and again it's just part of this problem. People are at different junctions of the path at different times, right? But again, what I'm going to be focusing on is the use of language, sophistry, manipulation, and, you know, with these claims that are made about where we are. That's the topic that I'm here, that's what I'm invested in. The rest of it, I've looked at it, I've played with the toys in the room, I've wasted years of going round and round in circles, looking at various avenues of corruption, you know, spirituality, all this stuff. It's just a waste of fucking time. As I said before, people need to wind their neck in. Stop thinking you have to be smug and smart and have answers. The bigger questions, you don't have a fucking clue what's going on. You don't know where you are, or why you're here, or how it came to be. End of fucking story. Now, if you don't have the answer to the A3, anything else that you think's certain, or that you've got a grasp on, or in your subjectivity you've pursued and you've had success with it, they're just illusions. They don't mean anything. Or this psychotic schism of good and bad and morality and ethics and transcendental meanings and all that, it's just fucking psychotic behaviour. And it all comes about because you don't know where you are or how you got here. So until those answers are fucking met, or we establish them, the answer to the questions, you're forever partaking in delusional mental illness. You can come and deny it all you like. I will obliterate you and expose your weakness. It's not my fault if you can't handle the truth. If you can't handle the truth, stop kidding yourself on that you're looking for the truth, because you're not. To say FE in regards to conceptions of what a flat earth is, or even saying that it's flat, are dead. They always were dead because they're nonsensical cartoon concepts. Gibberish. Again, I'll be pointing all this out. The reality of the situation is you don't need a straw man substitute. You were born into a situation where claims were made to you. Now, you may have incorporated those claims, assumed them to be true, or whatever else. That doesn't negate the fact that you still have the right to re-examine them and hold them to the fire. And that's what people have to do. No switch their attention to cartoons and straw man propaganda, which, you know, social media is saturated with. As soon as anybody has a sceptical point of view in regards to mainstream narratives about globe earths or any of the other mainstream narratives, you're instantly labelled. That's a defence mechanism. Liars and manipulators use these tools. That's one of their defence mechanisms. Sling shit at you so that they can cause a disturbance and people, see the shit sticking to you. Zetlericus Vaticus, this is one of the things, science and what it actually means. And it's simple. It just means exploration of what is. That's it. You're never going to get to what gave rise to it. Which again is where the mainstream narrative is trying to take you, because it wants to keep you stagnant. Chasing your tail on a question that will never be answered. You're within the effect. You are an effect. In order for you to know what gave rise to it, you would have to be removed from the effect, which means you would be outside of this experience in some other dimension or whatever. The fact of the matter is you're within it. When we talk about natural phenomena, right, natural phenomena are effects. You'll never get to the root of what gave rise to natural phenomena. The only thing that we can do is take natural phenomena, mess with it physically, maybe use other aspects of natural phenomena, mix them together and see what happens. That's practical play. That's how we have technological advancement. Based on physics, physicality. Once we're removed from physicality, it just becomes gibberish. Ideologies creep in. And I say people have a skewed perception of ideologies and religions, thinking it just means you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Catholic or whatever. No. It's much deeper rooted than that. I'd hedge my bets and say 95% of the populace of human beings are religious and they don't even fucking know it. And in particular the ones that run about calling themselves atheists. Well, they jump on bandwagons of Big Bang cosmologies and globe earth spinny space testicles. They're just as much crackpots as the rest of them. Yeah, I'm a realist. I don't need substitutes. I don't have a bias. I don't, have some wee emotional bias where I want reality to be this, that or the other. Or I want this afterlife, or I want gods, or I don't have any of that. And that's difficult for people because reality is so saturated by ideology in one form or another that people think you need to select one of these fucking delusions. You don't. You're not equipped to operate with delusions. You're only equipped to deal with here and now and your immediate physicality. The only thing you can do is progress through it, play with it and make discovery. I say, if you can't access it in 3 dimensions, you do not have a fucking clue what it is. And what I'm talking about there is what's above us. Maybe there is a way to discover these things in 3 dimensions, access them physically, but right now we don't have that access. We just have a bunch of fucking idiotic humans interpreting visible phenomena to fit a preconceived bias. And in that case, using mathematics to conceptualise the little created narratives. And it's easy, as I say, the globular earth, you type in the 10 best proofs or whatever, and it's the same old fucking waffle. It has nothing, absolutely nothing. And again, even children with the proper tools of discernment by the age of 8 would be able to tear apart and rip it to shreds and laugh at it. But they don't, they're under the umbrella of authority, bullying, intimidation, forced into accepting what the authority tells them. And a child doesn't have the ability to understand or comprehend what psychological mind frame that's creating for them. Because it's innate in them. They've got that want and ability just to trust and to take what elders say to them on face value. Which is fine if we're in an ideal situation where people are operating from honesty and integrity. But we're not in that situation right now. My advice to you is get your children to fuck out of these fucking schools and start taking responsibility for them yourself. If you want the fucking world to change, make the change. You need to be it. You need to walk the walk. There's no point in saying, the world's fucked and it's this, that and the other, but fuck it. I'm in my routine and I want to maintain my wee slice of the pie, but hopefully somebody else will sort it out. That's not going to happen either. What kind of example are you setting for them? Just to be as apathetic, lazy and fucking selfish as you? I mean, at the end of the day, there's a massive lesson in this for people on how easy they've given away their authority, right? To the point of total fucking absurdity now. And again, a lot of people are not going to like it because there's so many people that have been involved in this who have contributed to the muddying of the waters, right? In regards to, what flat earth is and depictions of, right? All they will be exposed again indirectly because it will be content we focus on. Nicholas, I'm always going to be pissed off about this situation. It's no changed since fucking day dot. I don't get, that's a problem for me. When I don't see people pissed off, it tells me that they don't really get it. It's even worse right now because everybody's fucking distracted, and it is a massive distraction, all this coronavirus crap. Regardless of what anybody wants to say about people dying, even if I lent you that there was something, at best it's a massive overreaction to a minute thing. But I know fine well that it's just a mass distraction. Now the concern is what else is coming down the pipeline, because it's certainly not this shite. That was one of the problems. That's why I get involved, as I say at the beginning of this. I could see clearly that strawman fucking maps and models were being pumped out there and people were jumping on and thinking that because they're denying or questioning an official narrative, they must have something to replace it. That's not how it works either. Exploration doesn't work like that. You can maybe have an idea of something that you might discover in your mind, but that's as far as it should go. So Ryan Q. Vincent, you can have open dialogue with your children about the world and what's being claimed, and show them all the options. But they first must be equipped to be able to discern for themselves. But we can't just keep perpetuating this repeat after me bollocks. Everybody creating wee cults left, right and fucking centre and turning the whole thing into a massive shit show. That's not how we're ever going to advance. We're only going to advance once we start producing individuals that can think and reason for themselves. And they have integrity to the point that they'll never compromise their integrity. They'll never be corrupted internally. Because they'll know the value of truth and standing by it. Everything's level. Your internal gyroscope, your internal balance system, your internal geometry, your external geometry is all calibrated from the level. Every single fucking bit of it. David Anderson, I would say that you already know the trivium. Remember, man's systems of explanation and, putting things down on paper is secondary to experience. So you probably already know a lot of the trivium, it's just that you don't have the confidence. The majority of people don't have the confidence because they don't have the linguistic skills to be able to articulate when they know it. How many times have you been in a situation where you know somebody's lying to you, right? Or being manipulative or whatever, and you just get frustrated and angry and maybe act on that frustration and anger? That's because you don't have the ability to articulate it. You know it's happening and you have the ability naturally to identify it. You just don't know how to articulate it, to make it be known and then to communicate it. That's why people get frustrated and act to anger. Thanks, Malax. People can come and visit me anytime they want, or invite me anytime they want. I'm no cut off. I've made it abundantly clear where I live. Everybody knows where I am and who I am. And I'm kind of socially awkward because I don't know what people's agendas are. What would you want to spend time with me for? Because you think I'm an internet celebrity? Huh? Or you want to get to know me for whatever reason? What is your motives? I'm always questioning people's motives. I'm always suspicious of motive. I've not really experienced a lot of altruistic behaviour in my life, so it makes me kind of sceptical and cynical. I know sometimes people just have a genuine heart and they want to reach out and make a connection, which is fine, but that's as far as it should go. So, I'm open to meeting people, but I'm not going to be announcing mass gatherings because I can't account for who's going to show up there. And as I've said before, there's vulnerable people left, right and centre. I don't want to be contributing and be responsible for, them being taken on an avenue or angst or whatever being brought to them. £10,000 fine for mass gatherings, brilliant. But you could probably fucking 50s and we wouldn't have fucking 10 grand between us. That's a lot of fucking, what do you call it? What is it that you get again when you're community service? We've no time for making videos. Aye, to meet people and shake hands and say hello, brilliant. I'm not against any of that. I'm just against the psychology of people who maybe view you as something or whatever. Again, you know, this is part of the thing that humans need to get over, this idolising and placing people up and below, and we're all on the level. And the sooner people start treating each other like that, the fucking better. There is nobody better than me or beneath me. The same should go for you. Every single one of us is born on the level. As I say, what I'm going to be doing isn't for the purposes of battling with fucking biased morons on social media. I'm no fucking interested in these actors, charlatans out to milk money while telling barefaced fucking lies. Want to be tools that real people can utilise and use and share. And I've been making it clear continually that it's not about me or anybody else, it's about establishing the truth and being able to discern for yourself. Again, nobody owns it. So anybody trying to raise their stature and come across as some sort of fucking saviour of man and all this rubbish, you should be suspicious of them. TMF, I'm in the same boat as you, mate. I'm dying to get recording myself, but I'm fucking useless, right, with this tech. I'm used to fucking old 4 tracks and 8 tracks, things that you can physically press that were simple. All this clickety click and fucking... I need somebody to sit here with me for about a week, showing me it so that I can put it into practice while they're there physically demonstrating it for me. So I wish I could help you. People like that, David Banner or Flat Earth Banner, there's exactly people like that. I put a comment on that, dipshits, you know, why don't you stop messing with all this cartoonery and come here for another spanking? And his response is, it's my turn to go there. Well, no, it's not my turn to go anywhere because I'm not the one that's making outlandish fucking claims. I'm a realist. There's nothing in my reality that tells me I'm living on a sphere. So anybody that's trying to convince me or tell me that I need to accept that I'm living on a sphere are duty bound to come and answer my fucking questions. It's as simple as that, and that's the attitude people need to adopt. You're not to be questioned. You're the questioner. You will be questioned when you start making outlandish claims like the Earth's a fucking circle with ice walls and domes, and you know what the sun and the moon and the stars and all that are. Then, by rights, you have to be questioned. But if you don't do that, you will always remain the master. You will remain in the mastership role with clarity and you will address anybody else's claims, particularly when they're hounding you and trying to tell you you need to accept their claims. Good TMF, utilise it. Des helped me, he helped me to install something, but you know, obviously once he's away, so say I need a wee bit more extensive. I'd need somebody to be here physically, you know, for a few days at least, so that I can get the gist of it, and then I would progress myself from there. Of course it does, Stack Malax. Of course it does. It's evident in the content that they put out. Which again, I'll go back over this. This is stuff that was pointed out and highlighted, you know, near the beginning of this journey on YouTube for me. You don't need to, you know, focus on somebody's personality or persons to make any point. If you want to find out who the gatekeepers, who the controlled opposition are, who the liars and manipulators are, it's evident in their content. As I say, I'll be taking it through increments. What's the topic? What's relevant to you in regards to the topic? How do you progress and how do you question? Without making any outlandish assertions. But yet, lo and behold, the majority of these people on here who are professing their flat earthers make claims about things that they've got absolutely no way to establish. And it's been pointed out to them over and over and over again by people like myself, but yet they continue to perpetuate it, which should be setting alarm bells off in your head. But the problem is you become attached to them because they maybe get charm or charisma and a certain mannerism about them that gets you emotionally or some fucking thing, so you feel loyal to them. Your loyalty is to the fucking truth, not to humans professing the truth to you. That's another thing, Ryan, that I want to put a wee bit of focus on and try and establish. I know that there's some exist, but a lot it's based on formats of, you know, mainstream education, and try and establish and maybe have a channel dedicated to, you know, a homeschool community where we can all offer up and put uploads up in regards to your methods, your approach, issues that you're having, problems, yada yada, and share these experiences with each other because it would be to your benefit. As I say, we are at a place, a point in time now where, as I said before, none of us have an instruction manual on how to deal with this, right? Because we've been born into a cult that has its habits and its practices. So when you start to see the flaws in that and you want to break free of that, you've pretty much got an open book. It's now you're back on the path of discovery and practical play to see how things unfold. So when it comes to homeschooling your children, you have to have a real think about that. I've got to continually think about it. I've got to continually think about, you know, a man parting some sort of bias, a moulding influence in a particular direction. I need to try and remain as objective as I can be. And as I say, you're going to make mistakes, you're not going to get it right. I don't even know if there is a perfect way to do it, but at least you'll be trying. At least you'll be honest in your endeavour. And that's the best you can offer your children, just to be as honest with them as you possibly can be. Not to set them up in a mind frame of accepting lies and bullshit and fairy tales and fantasy and pipe dreams. Well, that's it, Nick. You know, I mean, that'll be part of the aspect. You know, when we're talking about objective reality, I mean, everybody should know what physics was. No theoretical fucking quantum gibberish, this, that, and the other. Tangible physics. Where's the substance? Demonstrate its behaviour. Okay, now you've claimed that when you put that substance with that substance, there's an outcome, an effect that happens. Show me it. And nobody gets a buy. No excuses. Once we start getting excuses and people looking for buys, we know we've got liars on our hands. Now, they might not be lying for nefarious reasons. They might just be lying because of cognitive bias. And they're weak and insecure. So you have to remember that. People have cognitive bias and dissonance. Not everybody is a willful and active liar for a nefarious end. People jump on that too easy. Quantum Leap. I remember Quantum Leap when I was a kid, but the old one. I'm talking the 80s. I remember it used to be Quantum Leap, Prisoner of Cell Block H, and then The Equalizer. Right. Maybe not in that specific order, but you get a gist. That's not the best way to introduce noobs at all, 5. I'll begin through what I think is the best method to introduce them. I say you can see some of the tactics evident in the street interview stuff. No, you don't want to tell your children warm stories that they've got a soul. What you want to tell them is that they're a speck of meaningless dust, and when they die there's fuck all but darkness, and that they're going to be worm food, and that they have to rejoice in the fact that they're a wee speck of dust in an infinite void, right, floating about with no rhyme or reason to it. That's what you have to tell them. That's going to set them up to be securing themselves and, you know, no have fear and whatever else. That's a nice fluffy story. I mean, they even tell you, isn't it wonderful? Look at how insignificant we are. Let's rejoice. Let's gaslight the fucking living shit right out ourselves, lower our self-esteem, and rejoice that we are a meaningless speck of dust that came from nowhere. That's what you have to tell your children. That's what mainstream's telling you to tell your children. Because it's scientific and all that rubbish. What about Odd TV? What did I tell you about fucking hero worshipping? Huh? Going out to Odd TV and fucking plaster beyond the imaginary curve. Not interested in that spamming shite. I've always been awake to reality, Vigananda. No consistently. Went through a period of fucking massive depression and confusion and anxiety and all sorts of fucking stuff. Trying to make sense of what I was told the world was and who I was and what was expected of me. For me, it's mass hypnosis that's going on. And just like any other hypnosis, it only takes a fucking click to snap people out of it. So for me, it's about formulating tools, call them arrows if you like, making them concise, making them indirect, and utilising a method in order to inflict it. That's the best method of activism ever. Because people are running about with egos and they want to be right about everything and sure of themselves and whatever else. So you need to formulate a method so that people feel as if they've figured it out themselves. This is what I spoke about in the very early videos, about using the very tools that put people in oppressive states. Right? Because you can use these tools to empower them. The tools are never the evil or the bad. Right? It's what you use them for that counts. So understand manipulation. Don't be scared of it. Don't think, oh, manipulation, you can use it. The difference is that you're not manipulating people to put them under so that you can then exploit them. What you're trying to get them to do is snap back to being on the level, on equal terms with you and I. Exactly, the Socratic method. And again, these things are evident in my journey that you naturally, if you're seeking and you're honest with yourself, truth is singular. It only has one path. When we're talking about objectivity, so you're going to work your way to certain paths if you're reasoning properly and being honest with yourself. Then what happens is people recognise and they understand a category of the Socratic method, and they'll come and they'll say, you're using the Socratic method. Well, I never studied the Socratic method. I studied myself and was honest with myself. And through that process, you start to, uncover the true path. Same with the trivium. Grammar, logic, rhetoric. These things are evident in your being. You know that they're happening. Is that you just don't have the linguistic skills to articulate it. And that can become intimidating to people when they see things, the trivium, the Socratic method is something they have to study. What you have to get people to realise is that they already have it. All these things are like the Socratic method or the trivium are just a methodology for you to be able to express it properly. That's what language is. We make an agreement upon a noise because language is noises. Don't ever forget that. People think there's something intrinsic about words and language. There's fuck all intrinsic about it. It's a noise. But an agreement was made. Glass. Glass is just the noise to describe the stuff. The stuff existed before I uttered any noise. But when people don't recognise that switcheroo, that's when you can influence them by language. Because people have associations and relationships to language, and it's become solidified in their experience. They don't even realise that they're just making grunting noises. And other people have agreed upon certain noises that are attributed to a certain thing or ascribed to a certain thing. Abkoi, what about it? It means from chaos. Apparently. I just thought it was windswept and interesting. Right? Thought it was a bit edgy. I know stuff. So, you're talking about the email address from Chaos77. Hi. 1977 was the year I was born into utter chaos, confusion and fucking bewilderment. And from a young age, knew there was something seriously fucking wrong here. I've spoke about that, the eye. That's exactly it. Order out of chaos. You know, because people have got, again, a faulty notion to chaos. You know, when you say chaos to people, they think rioting and looting and raping and murdering and bang. No. You're born into, you know, reality. Right? And you can look at that as when there's no man's system imposed on a natural order, right, or a natural flow, you can term that as chaos, and what you're doing is ordering it. So when a man has a conception, I want to rule the world, I want to impose an order, then you can see the term order from the chaos. It already was chaos. They've just tried to order the natural flow. That's what man-made systems are. It's like putting a dam up in a river. Right? The river was already there and it was already flowing. And you could say it's chaos. It's just gone and gone and gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to impose a system. I'm going to build a dam. And I'm going to reroute it, and I'm going to hoard it here, and I'm going to try and shape it and mould it, and that's what's happened with us. Because we've allowed ideology to take over. No, I'm not a Freemason, no. Sick and tired of going through all that fucking shit. What would it even matter if I was? You're obviously not paying any attention. This is another aspect that I'll be hammering home. I don't care what shit anybody wants to sling at me. It's not about me. You can attack whatever I'm offering, right? But when you can't attack what I'm offering and you start focusing on saying shit like he's a Freemason, and what if I was? What does that mean? What relevance is that to anything? Oh, that's right, because you've got this running bias propaganda narrative that the Freemasons run everything and they're all evils and they're Satanists and all this fucking stuff because you watch too much YouTube tinterweb crap. Another person who perpetuates a weak state of mind. I don't give a fuck if you're a monk, a Jew, a Catholic. I couldn't give it a rat's ass what year, or if you're a Freemason, you pull your left tit out and lick your own ass. I couldn't care less. Could not give it a fucking rat's cunt. And neither should you. Because when you're trying to establish truth and objectivity for yourself, and you're maybe looking at other people to see what they've got to say, it's what they offer you that's relevant and important. And if you're applying the tools, then you'll be able to tear apart what they're offering you. And if you can find flaw in it, then you know there's an issue. But it's an injustice to you if you're influenced by somebody saying, oh, that guy that's saying that stuff's a Freemason. And then you go, alright, he's a Freemason, so I'll just ignore it. You're just a fucking idiot. Absolute useless gimp. And weak people like that want to drag you into their weakness. Just means you're too fucking lazy and stupid to comprehend your tools and apply the tools to establish the content that's being offered to you and you would just rather be influenced by some whimsical fucking fear-based lazy story. Girls get tattoos and he's Freemason, therefore something. I mean, I exposed all this before. Remember the propagandists? Fuck all to offer. Can't you focus on your content and just make videos about you? Or you swear, you shout, you've got tattoos, you're a Freemason, you're a fucking whatever. Of course it is. If you pay attention to it, you'll see how you're influenced by these types of things. It can be very subtle. You might ignore a video or no bother watching it because you read something in a comment section, or you see somebody else making comment about something else. Again, that's fine, let them all make comment, but what your duty is to analyse that content. What is this person actually saying? Case in point, you go and look at the videos, tells this, tells that, blah blah. What are they offering you? No rebuttal, no concise articulation of their problem with any content that I offer. No. They'll just give you this crap. If they're not just fucking capturing you in a funny pose or whatever else, they're telling you that I've got satanic tattoos and that I'm a Freemason and all this gibberish. How do you know real, true Freemasons back in the day never set out into the world to empower people? To share the knowledge that they had? And other factions didn't like that, so wanted to infiltrate or create fucking propaganda stories telling you that they were all evil. How do you know? What have you experienced? What little fucking bias avenue have you been pursuing that's blinkered you into tunnel vision with some false notion of certainty that you think you've got a grasp on stuff? Again, don't make any assertions to yourself. You should always remain impartial to everything and ask questions. And keep asking questions until you find a fault, a contradiction, whether you can break something or no. That's what your duty is if you're searching for real truth and you're professing you have integrity. Whatever, things can evolve, things can adapt, how many times have you seen something setting off with the right intent and a pure message or whatever, and then years down the line it became corrupted and it sells out and it becomes something else? I mean, that's what happens. Anything that becomes an influence or is viewed as a power or something that can raise stature, people will seek after it, people will want it. And if it's a threat to them, they'll want to destroy it. As I say, none of that mudslinging shite should be relevant to you. This is a question of objectiveness, and you're supposed to be as objective as you can be. Well, that's one of the stories, Shop. You can go and read about that, but again, it's just narratives. The Freemasons were the good guys and the Illuminati infiltrated them. Right? But again, it's absolutely preposterous. It's like, that whole tarring everybody with the same brush. Just because such and such is in the same club as me and such does something doesn't mean that I should be painted with that brush. But no, I'm not a Freemason, and if I was, I would have no reason to want to tell lies about it. Why would I? Stop saying the amount of Masons or pedos or this amount of that. It's humans, people. I don't care what robe they're wearing or what colour their skin is or how many fucking sex organs they want to profess they've got or don't have or how many genders. I don't care. I don't care. Neither should you. Well, of course, Satya Dharma, you know, this is the thing. Whatever gave rise to this is something infinite and eternal. I've spoken about this before, right? You can't have finite, because any finite story is going to take you to a point of no thing. Okay? Or ends and beginnings, which has to be encompassed by something that surrounds it, and you're back to an infinite regress of an egg within an egg within an egg. You know? I can't conceptualise what that infinite eternal is, because I'm not equipped for that, and neither are you. And again, it would be preposterous to try and pursue that avenue, because if something's infinite and eternal, then how can you perceive it as knowing the whole? Then it would be some finite geometry that you can see and understand and comprehend. Then you would have to be out with it, and again you're back to the infinite regress problem. Well, where are you now? What space are you within? So whatever we're experiencing, whether you want to put labels on good, bad, evil, fucking this, that and the other, it's all part of the same thing. If you keep trying to throw labels at it and lock it away, you're never going to progress. It's just running away. You see every astronaut, you know, the connection that the majority of these people have is a military connection, right? For me, I find it highly amusing that people think that there's the ultimate authority is this politician or this family or whatever. The ultimate fucking authority is the military, right? And it's a military that keeps secrets, right? And put sanctions left, right and centre, and impose sanctions left, right and centre. That's the real power. This is my second stronger one. I'm going to finish this, spark it, and then I'm going to get to. So as I say, probably from tomorrow you're going to start seeing all the live stuff disappearing, but you'll know what it's about. And what I'll do is I'll just I'll run with it. You know, if I see statements being made or things that I think are worth addressing, then I'll do a short upload in regards to any aspect. So same again, if people are in confusion or they think that, you know, they're being questioned or there's points being made to them and they want, you know, an avenue to pursue, then you can message it or when I'm on live, you can put it in the comment section or the chat box. As I say, I'll address these things in short upload videos. So I'll try and cover pretty much every aspect of that topic in regards to the shape of the Earth. You know, Big Bang, heliocentric, globe Earth, cosmology. Oh, fucking, I couldn't, you were talking 20 odd year at Pagan Tree. But as I say, the thing that snaps you out of that is to realise that you're not being honest with yourself. You're just one person and your life experience is your experience. As I say, you know, go on these avenues and pursuing these various avenues of research. What it does for me was that I could see contradictions. I started to realise in myself that the 95% of the stuff I was putting my attention to, I would never have closure on it. The problem is that I was never there, I never experienced it. What's relative important to me is what can be objectively experienced. And then I started to apply that to all the other stuff that I'd been paying attention to. And I seen very quickly that the majority, as I say, I could never experience in a practical fashion. You know, all that I could then do from that point onward was find a contradiction. As I say, none of that stuff really matters to me now. Because with clarity and standing in an open field of I don't know has been the most uplifting, beneficial experience of my life so far. Because there's no confusion, there's no mud swimming about in there. There's no beliefs, there's no expectations. I don't have faith and hope in any bias or any of that stuff. Just brutal skepticism and questioning. If I can't experience it, I'm not interested. No, I never had a religious upbringing at all. No, on my mother's side. Well, my mother's side, I think there was kind of pretense to be some form of, I don't know. I remember having to go to a church on a Friday because the boy, where I grew up in Linwood, there was very little, but there was like the boys' brigade, the BB, and if you wanted to play football for them on a Saturday morning, you had to show up on a Friday to the wee fucking making badges and sewing stuff and all that stuff. So that's as close, and that was in a church. That was as close to it as I got. I remember my mother doing a new, was it a newborn Christian thing or something? What an experience that was, I'll never forget that. Watching grown adults with all these theatrics, throwing each other into big fucking baths of water. What the fuck are they up to? Come here you, if I dip you in this water backwards and see all this stuff, it means you're born again. It didn't help. She was still the same person. Same mistakes being made. Aye, stuff like that, I mean, that's what I mean, Mr. Mojo. If you can cross-reference stuff with practicality, so in something like 9/11, somebody's making claims about some physical substance and the behaviours and the interactions, then you can set about seeing if that's true, because you have access to the physical substances and you can check their behaviour for yourself. So, in cases like that, of course, that's what I'm talking about. But when all I have is narratives and stories, hearsay, second-hand information, it's the point. make any of that claim. It's me that claim. This is the thing. People have not got a thing with the chronology. It's me that spoke about all that, about pressure systems and equilibrium and what's required to create vacuums and the relationship between high pressure system and a low pressure system. That was all for this platform. All these people that are running about repeating it left, right and centre while taking your money are just charlatans. They never thought about any of this stuff. It's not any of their contemplations. Again, not that I own it, but I know the chronology. I've got no need to lie. It just is what it is. So you don't need to tell me about vacuums. Well, that's when it starts getting all that stuff. Planes with holograms and all that. You can get down all sorts of roads. Pick one. I know about Project Bluebeam. If you go to one of my earlier uploads, it was a wee music video I made. It's called Bringer of the Storm, and it's a piece of original music overlaid with a video. And right at the end of it, there's a bit where it shows you the globe, and I've put in captions under it. This was Project Bluebeam, because I say people have got these notions that Project Bluebeam's about projecting holograms into the sky. It's not just about projecting things into the sky. It's about projecting things into your mind, right? And once things are projected into your mind, you then become subject to these things because you place relevance on them. You accepted them as truths, just like the globe Earth. Projected into your mind, subtly. Dom, Tron coins coming. Have you changed now? I checked it yesterday. I see that the XRP thing dropped. But I know that they drop and then they go up and down, so. I can see it, Sarah Nelly. SpaceX and blah blah blah. If these people are depicting the Earth contrary to what we know it to be, then there's an issue. What's your point? If you're talking about them professing that they're going to some reference frame known as the vacuum of space, physics will tell you that that's a fucking impossibility. I mean real demonstrable physics, no word salad physics, religious text physics. Real physics. What do you require to have a vacuum? A containment. What do you require to have a pressure system? A containment. What do you require to have a vacuum and a pressure system coexist? Solid separation. So if there is a vacuum, an area that is a vacuum, it's no part of our immediate reality. There must be a barrier between us and it. So they're telling you lies either way. But if you're one of these people that thinks we're in an infinite vacuum and we're this wee tiny fucking infinitesimal speck, but we somehow managed to retain gas in an infinite vacuum because of some nonsensical, magical non-entity known as gravity, I would have to say you're deeply mentally retarded and disturbed. Because there is nothing in demonstrable reality that would show you that that's even remotely possible, but yet you believe it. Why do you believe it? Because somebody told you and you seen pictures on your telly. I actually showed somebody that the other day, that I forgot all about that, the Tesla car. What a fucking joke. I mean, you look back at these things and you go, how blatant are these people ripping the piss out of you? And people still want to defend it. It seems to me that they're actively prodding at you. You know, this whole, it's consent. You know, they're telling you, they're prodding you and saying, wake up, dafty. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That was an actual quote from Elon Musk with his Tesla car in space. I think it looks so ridiculous and absurd. Followed by, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. Is it going to be XRP, Dom? It's a way to Mars. A visible light in the sky, and it's a way to it. It's apparently a planetoid, three-dimensional space testicle. It's so absurd. You know, we know in physics and physicality, you know, things influence each other either through a medium or by direct contact. So it's like indirect contact through a medium. One thing presses on another thing, or you can physically attach things to other things and have a relationship. That's what machinery is. But yet they've sold you this narrative of an infinite void where there's nothing. Right? And then you get these wee space testicles in this nothing, and somehow magically they're all going to ruin each other by magical gravity, whether it's, you know, the warping and bending of the fabric of space, which is not really a fabric, it's just a conceptual gibberish, or they're magically attracted to each other for some unknown fucking reason, right? And they're all going to ruin each other, and, you know, so it's not just straight line uniform motion. You know, they're doing orbits and ellipses. What's power in them? You need constant acceleration. You need constant power for these types of motions. Things need to be tethered to each other for them to work like machinery. Right? You don't just have empty space between objects and then they somehow have relations with each other and interact and influence. I mean, it's fucking bonkers. Exactly, flat enough. It's a creation story. The Big Bang is a creation story. Right? They try and, you know, use their fucking pseudo intellects to talk all this gibberish about nothing and no thing and quantum fluctuations within the nothing and fuck. As I say, these people are fucking deeply disturbed. That's the type of people that would have ended up in mental hospitals. Right? No, they're paraded like they're fucking heroes and people worship them. Talk about ripping the pish right out of you. The thing is, you know, and I'll get back to talking about this, you require motion. Nothing's still, nothing's static. If it was, you wouldn't be able to experience it. Right? So they needed a prime mover. But we know, especially in something like a frictionless environment, right? An object, things would continue in straight lines. In order to make them do curves and ellipses and orbits, you would require constant energy input. Something would have to be powering them, each wee planetoid. And even at that, we would have issues in a frictionless environment. But again, these people will spout Newton and Newton's law of motion, while at the same time believing and telling you all this gibberish about nonsense. Vacuums and planetoids doing orbits around each other and interacting with each other and affecting each other through a medium of nothing. George Lemaitre and Albert Einstein was his buddy. That's what I'm saying about, you start with a story, right? So you make an assumption, you make axioms, a story, and then by using mathematics, you can construct shit and interpret stuff to fit your wee story. That's what they've done. And they're taking your attention away from the immediate here and now, so that you don't ever become centred and focused and want to explore your immediate here and now. They have you focusing in way back, or way out there, or way forward, or right into the no thing that makes up matter, invisible space ball stuffs that goes round each other, and they don't know. The sooner you realise that, the better. Stop looking to them, thinking that you're going to find an answer to these things. They don't fucking know, and they never will know, for reasons I've pointed out. You're part of the effect, you're within it. Your duty is to explore the here and now as an effect, interacting with the other effects. So they've got you zooming in, they've got you looking backwards, looking forwards, and looking away out there. Or reference frames in places that you're never going to get to. Ever. All done deliberately, so that you don't be here and now and explore the here and now and what is here and now. This whole fucking game, the whole game, is about keeping you and I in this particular area, in this circumstance. It's the reason we have all these different philosophies and religions and narratives and blah 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 blah, because we don't know. And for me, we should know and we can know. But there's measures being taken so that we don't ever discover that. Anyhow, I've probably rattled on enough. I only meant to come on here quick. Just to let you know what was happening. I say, I still don't know if it is a good idea or whether I should just leave things the way they are and just go from here onwards and make the short videos and the incremental, path for people. I mean, I don't know. I'll sleep on it this evening, see what any of you offer up, your opinions or what you think should happen. But either way, I'm going to bleach it and then start moving forward, or I'll just leave it the way it is and move forward from there. I think the best option is to probably bleach it and try and leave up any aspect that I think is relevant or useful, and go from there. And I'll need to have a wee think whether I'm going to go live on this channel for the Hangout thing, and immediately after it I'll just put it to private, or I just offer up the opportunity of a live platform for you to join and talk about whatever you like, and I would do that on the Beyond the Imaginary Curve live channel. So Anyhow. Of course it was that, AB, that construct would be a monument to ending this whole thing. Not that I require it, but it's, the idea of the construct is sound, and it could be done. As I say, it would have to you would have to have a deflection and a gap increase if the Earth was a sphere, but we know it's not a sphere. But I'm talking about for the sake of making a noise and getting it to the wider populace, making a big thing of building the construct would get publicity, would get people's interest. So for that it would be very useful and purposeful. As I say, I'm still open to that, but I don't have the resources to make it happen. Anyhow, right, I'll see you all soon. Take it easy, people.